Buick's an iconic brand name in North America. In its 118-year history, they have redefined what luxury is for the masses. Now moving into 2021 with their full SUV and crossover lineup, they've given us the all-new, totally redesigned 2021 Buick Envision. Hey guys, this is Evan from the Hickman Automotive Group. Today we are in beautiful Carbonear during this awesome spring day, as you can see with the overcast. We're here today to talk about all the cool features that Buick has fitted to their brand new redesigned Envision. So let's dive in and see all the cool features that can come on this model. So let's start out with the largest and arguably the standout new feature, and that's the overall look of this new Envision. Comparing the new model to the outgoing model, Buick has certainly taken a chapter out of some luxury sport brands, as the Buick Envision looks sporty even when it's parked up. I think with this new redesign, they have really modernized the new Envision and the new outlook for Buick in the future. Starting out with the overall proportions compared to the outgoing model, this new version is wider, lower, and shorter. We do have 3 trim models to pick from, including a sport model, which blacks out the chrome and has different 20-inch rims. Now starting up front with the black and chrome grille, that isn't too large compared to many models coming out in 2021. In the middle, we have our iconic Buick logo. If we move to each side of the grille, we'll find the LED lighting, which has 4 LED lights in this socket, as you can see. It gives a really sporty look and great vision at night. Also have a daytime running light, which Buick calls a new wing design. Below each headlight, we'll find a non-functional grille insert to tie over the overall sporty look. We look up on the hood, we'll find these 3 ridges that flow from front to back, which gives it a really more muscular but sporty stance compared to normal SUVs on the road. Moving down the side, we'll find 18 to 20-inch rims, depending on what trim model we get, between the Preferred, Essence, and Avenir trims. The wheel arches are protected with some cladding, which is either body color matched or gloss black. In today's model, matte black. Moving down the side of the car here, we'll find some chrome work and trimmings. We also have a keyless entry and keyless lock, which is awesome. You keep the key in your pocket, you hit this button, the car will either lock or unlock depending on what you need. It's an awesome feature, and it unlocks all the doors for you. Looking at the rear of the all-new Envision, we'll have a rear spoiler here on all trim models, which is awesome. We have our rear wiper, our Buick logo, Envision. This is all-wheel drive. Now we do have the option to change to 2-wheel drive as well, but I'll touch on that a little bit later. We also have a backup camera that displays on our 10-inch screen, which I also will talk about later, which is awesome. We also have an automatic liftgate, so you can open it from your key by kicking it under or just hitting the button and it automatically opens up for you. When it's opened up, all you got to do is hit this button right here, walk away, and it will close for you, which is awesome. If we go to look under the hood of the all-new 2021 Envision, we will find a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, which outputs 228 horsepower and 257 foot-pounds of torque. Now that's mated to a 9-speed transmission and feeds power to the all-wheel drive system. Now Buick gives you the option to go 2-wheel drive with a click of a button in the interior, which I'll show later, which is an awesome feature to save gas. But you'll know if you're in winter conditions or need all-wheel drive, you can just hit a switch and the next thing you know, you got all-wheel drive. Now the all-wheel drive system is a dual disc system, which means it can feed power to either left or right side of the vehicle or front or back, depending on what side of the vehicle or wheel needs it most, which is a super helpful feature when the tires are spinning and you need extra traction. All right, before we dive into the interior of the all-new Buick Envision, let's talk about the safety features you get with this vehicle. Buick has fitted the Preferred trim, which is your base model, with a lot of safety tech, which is awesome to keep you and your passengers safe. Now, moving up in trim levels, you do get additional benefits. However, for the base package, you do get a lot of features. So let's talk about exactly what you get. Now in the Preferred trim, you do get a follow distance indicator, forward collision alert, front pedestrian braking, a HD rear camera, and blind spot alert, lane keep assist, rear crossing traffic alert, rear park assist, rear seat reminder, 4 tire pressure monitor system, and GM's teen driver. Moving to the Essence and Avenir trim levels, we find additional safety features, including front and rear park assist, HD 360 surround camera monitoring system, advanced forward collision braking, and adaptive cruise control. Now, we did mention that the outgoing Buick Envision is slightly bigger than this incoming model by not much. However, in the trunk, you do get a little sacrifice of space. Now, this new model does have 35 inches from the rear seats to the end of your trunk line, which is great for cargo capacity. Underneath our floor here, we do have a spare tire and jack stands with some additional storage if you need it. Our seats do not slide forward, however, they are 40/60 folding, which gives you extra cargo room. On the back here, there's two little latches on each seat. You just pull them from the rear or in the back seats and they fold flat for extra cargo. Now, talking about the back seats, let's hop in the back seats of this Buick Envision and talk about all the features you find back there. All right, moving to the back seats of the all-new Buick Envision. Depending on what trim model you get, you may get leather stitching with nice cross stitching. Now, on this preferred trim, we do have super comfy cloth seats, which is awesome. Now, they are a little bit of leather, a little bit of cloth, which is a nice mix. In this, we do have rear ventilation, and we also, on higher trims, will have heated seats back here, which is a great feature. For connectivity, we do have a USB-C and a USB, and on other trim levels, you do get a full outlet for plugging your laptop or anything like that, which is also a great benefit. We do have LED lighting in the back, which is great and modern. We have a full-on sunroof that stretches all the way to the back seats and a little bit beyond, giving great cabin light in here. These seats are super comfy. The leg room, I'm sat behind myself, which is almost a 6-foot driver, which is fantastic, or a 6-foot passenger in this case. You do have a little bit of storage in the back seats here, but I have lots of leg room, nice bit of headroom. It's a very comfortable spot to be for sure. We do have nice stitching. Everything's a nice soft touch back here, so your passengers can be super comfortable. We do have a pull down armrest with our two cup holders here in the middle. It's a nice spot to be, and yeah, so let's hop into the front and see what the driving positioning and all the cool features we can find in our infotainment up front. All right, so now we are in the front seat of the brand new Buick Envision, and this is where the Buick Envision really shines. Everything is all new, redesigned, and it's a very premium place to be, even on the base preferred trim. Starting out, we have a non-traditional shifter now in this Buick Envision. It's a more premium looking feel. Some people are against getting rid of the traditional shifters. Me personally, I kind of like the fluid modern design that Buick has chose for this model. Some manufacturers do it a little bit different, but I really like what Buick has done here. So the shifter now sits right next to your cup holders, and they're push buttons or pull buttons. So how it works, you push the chrome park button to park, obviously. You pull up the little chrome area for reverse. You push for neutral, pull up again for drive, and M is your manual selection. So we got paddles on our steering wheel here, so we can change our own gears in that 9-speed transmission. Moving to the other buttons in here, we have our climate control, heated and vented seats depending on what trim level you get. Right above our storage area where our wireless charging pad lives. Moving to the other buttons and features and storage inside the front of the Buick Envision. Starting out front with our storage that sits right below our screen and climate control. It is covered by a little cover, so you just pull that back. We have storage with our USB-C, a USB, and a 12-volt output. We also have our wireless charging pad depending on what trim level you get here, which is great for charging your phone. Above that, we have all our climate controls. The buttons are finished in a piano black with a nice gloss, which gives it a more luxury feel. We have two air vents above that, which is nicely hidden in the dash layout. And up top, we have our 10-inch multi-touch display, which is angled slightly towards the driver's side. The display uses GM's fantastic user interface with fast animations and easy-to-use function. We can also display wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on all trim levels. We can also connect your phone through to the USB-C or USB up front that we talked about earlier, along with the 12-volt input. Another awesome feature that Buick has fitted to the all-new Envision is user modes. You can set up to 3 users in this model, which is awesome, so that when you select your user, say if it's myself, the seats, the mirrors, all that will change back to my user settings. The volume will go back to what I like, what channel I was listening to last time, and all the driving modes that I previously got into the vehicle will go back to what it was. It's a great little feature to have if you have multiple drivers in your family. Another special feature that Buick has added to this Envision is air quality. Now that may sound odd, but it actually lets you monitor your air quality inside the cabin. It's a feature that you don't usually think about, but it is actually kind of helpful, especially if you got to change your air cabin filter and just want clean air as you're circulating and driving. It's kind of an important thing that most manufacturers forget about. So if you scroll over on your display screen, you'll find your apps menu and you'll find air quality. If you click the air quality menu, it comes up giving you a PM reading and if your air quality is good or bad. It also displays down by our temperature on our home screen, letting you know when it's a good time to change your air filter so you have the best air that you can while driving on long road trips or just any time when you're in the vehicle. Another awesome feature that Buick has fitted to the new Envision is GM's Teen Driver. Now, Teen Driver has been around for quite a while and is an awesome feature to have if you have a young driver in your family that also got to borrow your car. So what Teen Driver does allows you to set up an account that you can change what features are on and off inside the car. Other features that you can do is max volume, max speed limit, and it gives you a driver report after they get home that you can review to make sure that they weren't driving a little too recklessly for your liking in your brand new Buick. All right, moving on to the instrument cluster. Up front is it's well lit and we have two traditional analog dials for our speed and engine RPMs. In the higher trim levels, we'll also find a larger digital screen which wraps around the two analog dials, which also hosts a magnitude of information from vehicle settings, infotainment, navigation, and so much more. Also an option in Buick's heads-up display, which can display the main driving information right onto your windscreen, depending on what trim level you get. We move on to the steering wheel, which is a good size and fits nicely in your hand when you're driving. The controls are on the wheels, have a new layout than the past model, and are very well placed and easy to remember where each setting is. Our volume and track skip tune buttons are in GM fashion on the back of the steering wheel, with volume being on the right and tuning knob being on the left. The placement at first might be a little bit odd for these buttons, however, once you get used to it, it's actually a very natural place for the buttons to lie. As mentioned, we also have our paddle shifters right above that. Now they are a little bit awkward and small because of the volume and tuning buttons behind, but they are a nice plastic feel and they do give you a satisfying click when you're changing gears. Moving on to the seats up front, they're much like the back depending on what trim level you get. Now they could be full leather or cross stitching with the Avenir trim. Now in this base trim, we do have cloth with a little bit of leather on the sides, which is a nice touch. They are heated in the base model and they work fantastic. They're not ventilated. You do get that in the Avenir trim, which is awesome. Now moving on to our center stack here, like I said, we do have two cup holders. We have a little storage area and we have storage down below as well, which is an added feature. The whole cockpit is very driver orientated for Buick. It's a great sporty feel. All the stitching and soft touch material around here and leather is nice. We have fake carbon trim work, which really makes you feel like you're in more of a sporty SUV than just your everyday Buick. Just ahead of our new shifter and our cup holders, we do have additional features with button control. Starting out on the left, we have our start stop on and off, which is a great feature that you can turn on and off depending on if you like the feature or not. We have our downhill descent mode, so you can save the speed so that when you're decelerating down a hill, it matches that speed. We have our lane keep assist and lane keep warning on and off. We have our traction control and we have our parking on and off as well. All right, with the exterior and interior of the all-new 2021 Buick Envision complete, the only thing to do now is start it up, hit the road, and see what it's like to drive. All right, so here we are on the road with the new Buick Envision. Now, let's be honest, it's no sports car, and we know that. It's an SUV. Now, in saying that, it does have some sporty features. When it's driving, the steering angle is very sharp and very direct, which is nice and gives it a nice sporty feel. The shifting is really quick and agile with your paddle shifters, depending on what mode you're in. So it does give you a little bit of a sporty vibe and not just your every run-of-the-mill SUV. Now, in saying that, it still drives like a Buick. So the suspension is super cushiony and soft. The road noise is nice and minimal and quiet, so you feel like you're driving something a little bit more special than your average SUV. Another feature I want to note that you don't usually talk about in these reviews, but I want to talk about it in the Buick Envision. It's the turn signal noise. Now it's a little bit odd, but the turn signal noise usually in cars of this trim level and this class is a little bit more traditional with the loud tinking noise. When you turn on the Buick, it's soft, it's subtle, it's not so, I don't know, like in your face that it wants to make a turn. It's very Buick-like, and I kind of like that, and it's kind of a weird feature to point out, but it's just different. And you'll notice it if you get behind the wheel and actually use one for yourself. It doesn't sound like a normal turn signal. So as I previously mentioned, you do have different drive modes in this. We have our sport mode, our tour mode, front wheel drive and all wheel drive. Now in tour mode, you automatically go on front wheel drive. It's good for saving gas, it's comfortable, the suspension gets a little bit light, it's a nice spot to be. If you go into sport mode, the car will hold revs a little bit longer, so it feels like a little sporty. All-wheel drive will kick in to give you some more traction if you're cornering a little bit harder, and your steering gets a little bit tighter, so you feel like you're driving a little bit more of a sporty vehicle. Now it is just still a Buick Envision, so it's no sports car. Now having those drive modes are fantastic. You can change it and get a different driving dynamic in the vehicle, which is great for this kind of vehicle. Moving on to the steering wheel, when you're driving, it's a very comfortable steering wheel. It's a nice width to the steering wheel, so it's not small. It feels strong. The leather in it is super comfortable. It is heated even on the base model, which is a godsend to have in Newfoundland, let's be honest. So I'd really like to see that in a Buick model. It's a great steering feel. You can feel the impact of the road, so you got good feedback when you're driving. It's not like fully electronic, so that you don't really get a good sense of where your wheels are at any given time. So let's close out this 2021 Buick Envision review. It's a well-needed refresh for the model lineup and for Buick as a whole. Its sporty exterior and luxurious interior fits the Buick's names perfectly. It definitely should be on your short list of SUVs to test drive and at least own in your driveway. I highly recommend it, and I love driving it here today and being part of the Buick experience. But you're saying to yourself, okay, the sporty exterior with all the nice safety features and the features that you find in the interior, how much is it going to cost me? Well, the new Envision actually starts at only $35,000 Canadian, and the top Avenir trim, all spec'd out, tops out at $45,000. So in closing, the Buick Envision has certainly grabbed my attention, and it should grab your attention as well. It's a great SUV for its features, its looks, and its drivability. It has a very reasonable price point and has all the safety features that a modern vehicle should have. So guys, I'm Devin from the Hickman Automotive Group, ending off this review of the Buick Envision. If you don't mind me now, I'm going to take in this beautiful scenic view. Catch you in the next one, guys.